Good morning, my people. I hope you are having as wonderful a day as I am. I hope you are happy, smiling. I hope your coffee's hot. I hope you're ready. Oh, I want to look at this little gem I found. You know, I collect mugs, right? I found this little gem at Kohl's in the men's department of all places. It wasn't even in the right place. It was meant to be. It was meant to be. I love this thing. Oh my goodness, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. So grab your pen and paper. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about evil Popeye, Walleye Ken Paxton. He is at it again, man. He is at it again. We need to talk about him in the frame of what Republicans are now. What do they do? What are we looking at going into this next election? So, without further ado, without wasting any more of your valuable time, let's get at this. Oh, boy, I tell you, it is something, man. It is something. I've been reading about this since last night. I just wanted to make sure I had it all fresh in my head. I've been talking about old evil Popeye. This is if my attorney general here in the state of Texas. This is Ken Walleye Paxton. As you know, old Ken Paxton, not only was he recently given a skate on an impeachment that was it was a done deal, man. It was a done deal. They presented all of the corruption, the bribes, everything that this guy had been involved in. And Republicans just told us to our face, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to protect our own. This is who we are. This is what we are. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. So we're not going to impeach this guy, even though you presented tons of evidence showing that he abused his office and is a crook. Not going to do it, and screw you. Dan Patrick, who was overseeing the impeachment, started screwing around with when the impeachment would start, moved it to 5 a.m. in the morning. Just everything he could to just stick his thumb in the eye of the public, so that they couldn't participate, so that they couldn't be involved. That's who Republicans are. And, folks, I will tell you, when I say something like that, I hate it. I get pushback on the left. From the left of all places. They're like, well, they got rid of George Santos, so they're not all. Yes, they all are. Yes, they all are. They didn't vote George Santos out because George Santos was a crook. They voted George Santos out because he was gay. And they're telling you as much to your face. I always quote Maya Angelou and tell you, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. Believe them. Listen to what they're saying and believe them. This is old Tennessee Tim Burchett, congressman from Tennessee. He's telling us what they were talking about behind closed doors. You remember when they were talking about expelling Santos? They held their little private meeting, and then they played music so that you couldn't hear what was going on in the room. Well, this is what they were talking about amongst themselves. You know what? People vote for me. They don't like them gays. They don't like them gays. I could vote him out. and be good with my people. I could. They'd like it. They'd like it. That's who they are. They are bigots. They are bigots. And believe me, they don't hide it. Let me tell you, you remember, Elon Musk just got himself in hot water. Everybody's been pissed off about what's going on over at X-Chan. How he's been pandering to white supremacists, how he's been putting people. He put a guy back on the platform that put child porn out on his account. And his excuse was, I'm talking about Elon Musk now, his excuse was that those pictures never made it public and only his team saw them and they removed the pictures. Therefore, they're going to let this guy go ahead and keep his account. They're going to let him go ahead and keep being, posting on Twitter, even though he acknowledged the guy put up child porn. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. And it gets worse than that. I mean, I don't know if necessarily worse than that is the right way to characterize it, but it stays bad, folks. It stays bad. Everybody's been screaming about the white supremacy on X-Chan, how they're not hiding it anymore, how Elon Musk keeps bringing accounts back that were kicked off previously from Twitter for being white supremacists and racists. Well, it all came to a head when Elon Musk himself responded to this. He says, okay, Jewish communities there's a tweet out from this, calls himself the artist formerly known as Eric. One of the accounts that pushes crap like this, I'll read what the man said out of his own mouth. Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. I'm deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest shit now about Western Jewish populations coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want truth said to your face? There it is. Okay, this guy just said Jews hate whites and the hordes, which always means the non-whites, that are coming to your countries hate you. They hate you. Yeah, it's the white supremacist trope you always see. It's the crap you always see. Where it exploded, this would have just been more crap. But where it exploded is Elon Musk says, you have said the actual truth. That was from Elon Musk's hands himself. And that was the bridge too far. That was the camel that broke. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Advertisers said, look, we've been ignoring what you've been doing, but no, when you join the white supremacists yourself, that's a bridge too far, and they started to pull their advertising. Well, Elon Musk loses his crap because, when you've never been held accountable in your life, being held accountable feels like persecution. Hey, Gary Ryan says, keep up the awesome work, Texas Paul. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the support. So, yeah, Snow Leopard, I agree with you. Elon is a Nazi. I agree with that statement. I do. So, Media Matters had been looking at X-Chan for the longest. This statement by Elon Musk didn't trigger what Media Matters had always been doing. Media Matters had been tracking the hatred, the growth of hatred on the site, the fact that these people that spread hatred were being returned to Twitter, to X-Chan. So Elon Musk loses his damn mind because the advertiser said, look, this is enough. This is enough. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, the man can't take personal responsibility. He can't. He can't say this was my fault. I did this. I mean, you put up with all the white supremacist crap up until now. And then I opened my big mouth, and now you can't hide anymore. So you have to pull your advertising. No, that he can't go through those machinations. It's Media Matters. If they hadn't been saying this, well, then you wouldn't have justification to pull your advertising. So I'm going to attack Media Matters, just like he attacked the Anti-Defamation League, just like it's never hold yourself accountable. And where this ties back around to our main story today with Ken Evil Popeye Paxton is, of course, Ken Paxton immediately utilizes the collar of his office, my tax money here in the state of Texas, to pull a Tommy Tuberville. Oh, no, we're not going to let people root out the white supremacists. Remember what I told you about Tommy Tuberville in his military holes? That didn't start over abortion. That started over the military was rooting out white supremacists. That's when Tommy Tuberville put his hold in place. Here comes Ken Walleye Paxton. Don't worry, my racist friends, I'm here to protect you. I just made that up off the top of my head. I'm proud of myself. But here he is on Charlie Potato Head's show. He's telling you that he is going to sue Media Matters.
We were made aware recently of what's going on with Media Matters. As you probably know, fairly liberal, pro-democratic organization, which is fine. But they are trying to manipulate, it looks like they're trying to manipulate the platform of X, formerly known as Twitter, to make it look like they're racist, and they tried to tie those racist ads that were created to some of the major advertisers on Twitter to hurt their business. Obviously, that affects consumers, and that's what we're looking into as a matter of law. Have they violated our fraud laws, and have they violated some laws as it relates to being a nonprofit?
So, this is an important measure that you're taking here. So is it a civil investigation? Is it a criminal investigation? Is it the intent to sue? Walk us through some of the specifics.
So right now it's a civil investigation. I don't have the authority as Attorney General to do criminal investigations. That would be up to local district attorneys, which I wouldn't.
Forgive me, whenever I take a drink of coffee, I mute it now so I don't slurp into the microphone, and sometimes I forget to unmute it. I always catch it. I'll get there. Yes, Carter, I just explained that. Yes, I know. Look, he is using his office to sue Media Matters, who is doing nothing but tracking white supremacy in this instance. Telling us, hey, you have a public platform. It's one of the most popular public platforms in the world. And it is being flooded with white supremacists. And Ken Paxton says, you damn right it is. And that's the way we like it. That's the way we like it. So he's using his office, abusing his office. Thank you, Old Silver. I appreciate you. Old Silver says abusing his office to sue Media Matters for Elon Musk, for the white supremacists. That's who this guy is. And it doesn't start there. I mean, he is just one thing after another. He's never let the COVID thing go and the anti-vaxxers go. Here he is. He's filed suit against Pfizer because, Ken Walleye, the Dr. Paxton, believes that pharma lied about the efficacy of their vaccine, at which Pfizer just laughed at him and said, see you in court. Here's the documents. I mean, Pfizer literally laughed at him because of the amount of documentation they have, the T's that they've crossed, the I's that they've dotted in this environment about COVID. They took such extreme care in what they said and what they did. They literally laughed at Ken Paxton because he is wasting my tax dollars, abusing his office to sue Pfizer for the anti-vaxxers. I mean, he's for the white supremacists. He's for the anti-vaxxers. Now, why wouldn't he be for the death cult people? Which is where we're going next. What he did yesterday. I'm blazing through that coffee. Ken Paxton sent this letter to Methodist Hospital, Women's Hospital of Texas, and Texas Children's Hospital yesterday, threatening them and their well-being, their financial future, and threatening them with jail time because a Judge Maya Guerra Gamble issued a stay on our Texas abortion law because our Texas abortion law is draconian. Let me read you the opening paragraph of this. It has come to our attention that Damla Carson, MD, a physician holding the privileges at your hospital, intends to perform a dilation and evacuation abortion. There's no such thing as a dilation and evacuation abortion. There's just a D&E. Abortion is just a layman's term. It's not a medical term. The term for it is a D&C or a D&E. She intends to perform the medical procedure, dilation and evacuation, a D&E, which is a common medical procedure, on Miss Kate Cox. Today, an activist Travis County judge. Yeah, that's a legal term. He's talking about Judge Guerra Gamble. This is him letting you know he doesn't respect this judge or the fact that they're a member of the judiciary. Signed a temporary restraining order, a TRO, purporting to enjoin the Attorney General's office, the OAG, the Office of Attorney General, and the Texas Medical Board from enforcing some of the state's abortion laws against Dr. Carson if she performs an abortion on Miss Cox. We feel it is important for you to understand the potential long-term implications if you permit such an abortion to occur at your facility. And then he goes on, there's about 4 more paragraphs where he just makes threat after threat after threat after threat. Folks, it's important to know what's going on, not just is it happening. You need to know the background, everything. This Texas Paul just bought me some fresh coffee. Woo, I tell you what, had some good coffee this morning. Kate Cox and her husband want a child. They do. They want a child. This isn't something like, and the reason I say that is so that you can understand what's really going on here, just how gross this is, how flagrant of a violation this is. They want a child. They do. And they've got they got at 20 weeks the most horrible news you could possibly want to get. Their fetus at this point has Edwards syndrome, specifically a subset of Edwards syndrome. We got trisomy, it's called trisomy 18. And this one's not hard to understand. Trisomy 18 is not really a genetic thing. It's not like, oh, the dad has a genetic disposition, the mom has a genetic disposition. No, it's a horrific thing that happens. When the sperm meets the egg, it transfers DNA. Normally, every human being has two sets. They've got two sets of DNA. With trisomy 18, something goes wrong. You end up with a second copy. 3 sets of DNA. Again, not difficult to understand. This, because it happens at conception, continues on to every cell the fetus has. Every time a cell replicates, it replicates with 3 sets of DNA. And as you can imagine, DNA being the map for how your body grows into an adult, it's all dictated by your DNA. Having a third set of DNA royally screws that up. There's no way, no how for this fetus to grow normally. Every time a cell replicates in its body, there will be mistakes. And I appreciate it saying it's like Down syndrome. It is not like Down syndrome. It is worse. It is much worse. It is much worse. It is every freaking set. Every time a cell replicates, there's a high possibility something goes wrong. And these fetuses, overwhelmingly, I'm talking overwhelmingly, do not survive to birth. They just don't. And I want you to think about that, ladies. We men, we don't understand pregnancy. We don't. We understand the excitement of it when we want a child and we find out that we're going to be a dad and all that, but we don't understand what you ladies go through. We can't possibly. You've got this fetus going through. We've got this fetus growing inside you, and you are super excited. You are super excited. This couple wants a baby, and then they get this horrible news that this baby's not going to make it. The doctor can look you in the eye and say, you have trisomy 8, this fetus has trisomy 18. The overwhelming evidence says it's not going to survive to birth. What is going to happen in the overwhelming number of cases is it's going to die inside you. You are not going to know, and you're going to have a dead fetus inside you. The complications of that could mean you will lose your ability to reproduce. The infections that spread, this is going to be in your reproductive organs. If you continue this pregnancy, there is a possibility, a strong possibility, that you may lose your ability to have another child. And I want to reiterate to you, this is not a disorder that comes from the mother and father. This is the rarest of unicorns. This in no way affects their ability to have children in the future. Their future children will not have this. Statistically, mathematically, the chances of this happening twice in a row, it just doesn't happen. They can have healthy children. They can. In the rarest of cases, these fetuses will make it to birth. And I'm talking about of the millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of children that have been born over time. It is literally measured. You can count them on your fingers and toes, the number of these babies that make it to birth. And when they make it to birth, they die, usually within 2 weeks. They require intensive surgeries and medical care, and they never leave the NICU because none of their organs form properly. They have to have heart surgeries, kidney surgeries, and they die. Of those incredibly rare instances where they don't die, over the years, they have studied this. Once in a blue moon, they won't die. They've studied those children, and they are children at that point. They are children at that point. They have studied that to see what is the results. And the results are that by the first year, they have horrible medical conditions. They require heart surgeries, kidney transplants, extreme feeding tubes, different things, because, nothing forms properly. That's not hyperbole, folks. That's literally data. We've studied this. We've looked at this. But the horrible people, and I call the people in the anti-abortion people, I call them the death cult. I do, because they hold on to the most horrific examples. This is who Ken Paxton is suing for. I want to introduce you to Megan Hayes. Megan Hayes is the oldest living survivor of Trisomy 18. She is literally one of the rarest unicorns on earth. They fundraise off of her. And her daddy, Ron, helps the Texas Right to Life movement, because he believes that everyone with Trisomy 18, you must endure that pregnancy no matter what the complications, because of Megan, because of his decision with Megan. Megan's 42, 43 years old now, lives with her parents, has had horrible medical conditions her entire life. But her daddy, Ron, man, Megan's special. Megan is special. She matters. And because she matters, this rarest of unicorn, Ron and Ken Paxton and the rest of these assholes can force on us their beliefs, what they believe is right. Even though, by his own admission later on in this article, calls her a miracle, because she is. You want to see a miracle? Look at this. Because she shouldn't be alive. She has, they bitch about people talking about her quality of life and what her life has been, because, I'm sure he loves Megan. I don't give a shit about Megan. I don't. In fact, I fucking hate Megan. Because of Megan, you fundraise and you force women to carry fetuses to term that they don't want to carry to term. You force them to use their body to feed another human being, in which case that applies nowhere. If you need a liver, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go take half of Ken Paxton's. Hey, you were a baby. You were somebody's baby. You're precious. Your life matters. Fuck Ken Paxton and his liver. If he's a match for you, take it. He has no say in this. Because that's what you're telling women, and it pisses me the hell off. Women are not your freaking sex toys. Women are not your birth vessels. Their bodies are their own. They get to decide if they go. Pregnancy is not free. Ask any woman in this audience. Pregnancy is not free. It has it happens to their bodies, not evil frickin' Popeye. And that is why, yeah, I fucking hate Megan. I do. This one-off unicorn that had extreme ass medical bills because she's special. Everybody else must allow these church freaks to tell them what to do. Screw that noise. Screw it all to hell. And screw Ken Paxton, because this is exactly what Republicans are. This is exactly what Republicans are. They're telling you they're white supremacists. They're telling you they're going to sue on behalf of white supremacists. They're telling you that they're going to force their frickin' ideology on you. They're telling you they're not going to hold their own accountable unless they're gay. If they're gay, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll vote out a gay person because they're bigots. And they've started the 2025 project, which is there to allow them to defeat our institutions that are there to protect us. They're already doing it. You see what Ken Paxton said. You see what Ken Paxton has done. I'm sorry, folks. Judge Maya Guerra Gamble is the judiciary in my state. The judiciary has a job. It is remember in elementary school when they taught you about checks and balances? That no branch of government is more powerful than any other branch of government because they have checks and balances on each other. This is the judiciary's job. This is the judiciary's job. And Ken Paxton just said, no, I'm the executive branch and I decide what's law. I decide what gets enforced. I decide who gets to do what in my state. No, that's a dictatorship, you freaking wall-eyed jackass. You respect the judiciary in my state. You freak. And they're telling you, they want kings. That's what they want. They want kings in their courts. The 2025 project, they've told you this is exactly what they want. This is exactly what they will do. I've got Kate Wilcox here to tell you her side of the story. And I want you to hear what she has to say. And think of all the women like her dealing with this horrible. It chokes me up. It breaks my heart. I want you to remember back the joy when you were having a baby that you wanted and this is her situation. This is her situation.
It's a hard time. Even with, being hopeful with the decision that came from the hearing this morning, there's still, we're going through the loss of a child. There's no outcome here that I take home my healthy baby girl, so it's hard, just, grief, but I think that, joy and grief can coexist, and there's moments of joy. I'm really grateful for my wonderful 2 children that I have and my wonderful family. And, it's a moment of sadness, but we really have a wonderful life here in our home state. And so, I just try to count my blessings.
Sorry, that chokes me up a little bit. And it chokes me up because, she can have normal children. She can. She can have a safe medical procedure, a D&E. It's been done so often that it's routine. And they can have a happy, healthy family. She can have the children she wants. No, Megan is not a reason. Megan Hayes is not a reason for her to have to risk not being able to have children. I'm sorry. These are evil people. These I won't call them pro-life. They're a death cult. These anti-abortion people are a death cult. Have no right to tell Kate Cox and her husband that they can't make this decision. That they can't say, look, okay, the odds are this child is going to die inside my wife. And call it a child if you want. I don't care. I don't assign that much value to human life. I don't. Sometimes humans die. This child is going to die inside his mother. I would bet my house on it. This child is not going to make it on its own to birth. It's going to die inside her. She's not going to know. There's no alarm bell that goes off. Sometimes there are symptoms that will let the mother know. But it may be a week that this child lies dead, rotting, fetid inside her mother until she feels symptoms from the infection that's spreading throughout her reproductive organs. That's reality. That's what the math says. No, this is not an option. Fucking Paxton. You don't get to tell women whether they can reproduce, how they can reproduce, if they have to reproduce. It's their damn body. This is a decision she gets to make. She's choosing to make it with her husband, and they've made the decision that they're not going to take this risk. Stay the hell out of it. You want to be a religious freak? Go to your church and be a religious freak. You want to impose this on people? Impose it on people that are with you. Your religion stops at the end of your nose. I got to tell you, folks, this is not about abortion. This is about freedom in a tyrannical government. And Republicans, if they'll do this, they'll do anything. If they'll do this, they will do anything. Yep, it's about control. Well, that being said, it's time to move on to our second story of the day. We have had charges filed against Hunter Biden. And I have got to tell you, I'm just going to sum it up front. If this man's last name was not Biden, these charges would not be filed. It's really that simple. Let me give you a breakdown of what's been done, why we're here. Just to give you an idea, these are the charges that were filed. I want to thank Kyle Cheney. If you don't follow Kyle Cheney on XChan and Threads, you're missing out. He's a great source of information. He enumerated the charges for us here. They boil down to 26 USC 7201, 7203, and 7206. There are 9 counts. All of them are felonies. But you don't know what that means, right? You're not a tax attorney. 7201 is tax evasion. That means you didn't pay your taxes, which is not true in this case, because you have to understand this investigation did not start last week. This was from stuff that happened last decade. These taxes have been paid. They had the investigation. Hunter Biden said, oh, okay, yeah, I missed that. I'll pay it. He paid it. He paid the penalties. This is political, and that's a big frickin' deal. That is a big frickin' deal. And it's a big frickin' deal because of this guy right here. Tricky Dick. Dick Nixon. You know, folks, I tell people up front. Who and what I am. It's one of the things that people really like about me. I don't hide who I am and what I am. And I've often said, you know, I love Michelle Obama. I really do. She just makes me happy when I see her. She just does. That smile I could be having the worst day in the world and see Michelle Obama smile, and it just lifts my day. I love the woman. I do. But I disagree with her on something. She said, when they go low, we go high. That ain't me. It's never been me. When they go low, I jump in the ditch. I grab my fact bat. Make sure I'm right about what I'm doing, and I start cracking heads. That's what I do. I don't go high. And Dick Nixon is a perfect example of why I don't. Dick Nixon is the perfect example why I live my life. You know how you see that image of an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other? I'm honest with people. I will tell you, I'm the devil. I am the devil. Michelle Obama is the angel. I am the devil. And the reason I live that way is this. Dick Nixon utilized the IRS as a weapon, as a political weapon. He did it so much that finally everyone got a bellyful, Republican and Democrats. And this is important to where we're going with this, folks. Everyone had enough of this because he so abused the IRS that even Republicans said, no, we've got to enact a law. And they did it. And it's a law with teeth, man. You cannot be part of the executive branch and encourage, ask for, in any way interact with the IRS about an investigation, a tax investigation. That is a hard felony with serious jail time. And everybody wanted that. And they wanted it not because people high-roaded. They wanted it because things got dirty enough that nobody could take it anymore. And that's the way I am. That's what I believe. Gerrymandering, it's a bad thing. Many Democrats will tell you it's a bad thing, and therefore I will polish my principles and be the good person and tell you, we will not gerrymander. Not me, brother. I will tell you, gerrymander the fuck out of New York. Gerrymander the fuck out of California. Gerrymander the fuck out of every one of our states until Republicans are bleeding out their rectums and begging you to pass legislation with them to stop gerrymandering. Because then you'll get it done. If we polish up our principles and say, gerrymandering is bad, but Republicans get away with it, they're going to keep doing it. So yeah, I'm honest with you about who I am. I'm not a high road guy. I'm not the guy in the room saying, well, we're Democrats. We're better people. Yeah, we're better people because we don't want gerrymandering, but I'm not going to tie a hand behind my back. And when it comes to things like this and them attacking Hunter Biden over and over and over again, and I'm going to explain to you why this is just an attack. Chassis, I appreciate the support. Some people don't understand anything but a crack with the bat. Texas Paul, sad but true. Yes, that is true. That is humanity in general. I want to explain to you these charges. Okay, 7201 is tax evasion. I didn't pay my taxes. 7203 is failure to file. which is kitchen sinked on. That's what prosecutors do. They kitchen sinked on. That's why there's 9. They kitchen sink these on. Failure to file. That's you didn't file. You didn't know you had a tax burden, so you didn't file a tax. Your taxes. So, of course, you didn't pay it. You didn't file. These two just go hand in hand together. And the third one, 7206, is fraud or perjury. They have to, and all of these statutes start with one word: willfully. You must willfully do these. This is why these don't come to criminal charges. You literally have to be like some major corporation with communications that they can find, or some crook with communications that they can find that shows your intent to willfully do this stuff. State of mind matters. Intent matters in all of these. And let me give you an example. If you are like Hunter Biden, you work overseas, you still have a tax burden back here at home. You do. Say you're doing business, just a hypothetical. I like cows, okay? So we'll use cattle. Say, you're working, you've got a residence over there. Say you bought you a nice house in the country. You got some property, you're doing business for Ukrainian oil company, Burisma, okay? You're teaching them how they have to conduct themselves in order to qualify for financing in the Western world so they don't have to rely on Russia anymore. You're teaching them how to behave like a Western business. Well, they're so satisfied with your work as a gift, they send you a bull. It's a present. I raise high-grade cattle. And if you don't know, bulls are, I'm speaking as the customer there, not myself. I'm retired. I don't raise cattle anymore. Not at all. My boy does. I don't. But these things are like racehorses. When you get into these high-end show cows and things like that, these things are like racehorses. They can sell for over $1 million, people. These can be some expensive gifts. So let's say you're gifted that. Well, to you, it's nothing but an expense. You don't raise cattle. You don't anything. This damn thing's just a freaking expense. That's all it is to you. So you file your taxes with your feed, your veterinarian bills, and everything else. You get audited. The auditor says, hey, that cow has value. That bull has value. Well, yeah, but not to me. It just cost me money. Well, that don't matter. You got to file. That was a gift. And that gift was worth $750,000 when they gave it to you. Then you have to go to court and you have to argue what the actual value of it is because you don't actually breed cows. Does it really have value? Is it really worth $750,000 if it never sticks its penis in a cow? These are the kind of things that go to court. Shit like that. And they never end up being prosecuted. They don't. Especially when the person says, okay, you're right. I'll pay the taxes and the penalties, which is what Hunter Biden did. This is from last decade, folks. This is not yesterday. It was something like that, or it was something like, we don't know the details yet. I'm giving you examples of how this ends up coming to be fruition. It can be that, okay, you run everything, you run like most people, everything goes through your business. You have your business filings and then you have your personal filings. And it could be that you have expenses and whatnot that you ran through your business. Income, whatever that you ran through your business, the business files it. You didn't file that on your personal because you thought, okay, I filed it with my business. You're not a freaking tax genius. Somebody does Hunter Biden's taxes. Those two didn't match up. Oh, okay. All right. Pay the taxes, pay the fine. It's handled civilly. It's handled civilly is how it's done. So how did we get here where there are criminal freaking charges there on taxes that have been paid? Yeah, it's really simple. Starts with this Trumper right here. Judge Mary Ellen Noriega, or Noriega, appointed by Trump. She is a Republican, folks. She is a Republican, and she's a donor to Romney, McCain. She donated to people like Santorum, Tom Cotton. I mean, this is not just your, I give to Republicans every year. She seeks people out within the Republican Party. She was appointed by Trump to a position that she had no qualifications to be in because her entire legal career has been in patent litigation. So now she's a criminal judge. Yay. They had a plea bargain over these tax issues. They had a plea bargain over a gun charge that never gets filed, always gets dropped, never gets filed. Everybody else, if your last name isn't Biden, you didn't get charged with that gun charge. It just didn't happen. Sherry Foster, thanks for the support. Enough is enough is enough is enough. And that's where we're going with this, folks. Enough is enough. The gun charge was not a violation. He didn't do anything with the gun. He didn't threaten anybody with the gun. He had already given the gun away. His sister-in-law took it. He didn't willfully violate any laws. He just wrote in his book that he was battling addiction. He wrote in his book that his sister-in-law was kind enough to come take this gun from him. She cared. She was worried about him. She took the gun. She owns it now. Not only do they not file charges in cases like that, I mean, his plea deal was not an easy plea deal. It was actually harsher than it had to be. And this Republican judge was looking for a reason to blow it up, started asking ridiculous questions. And she asked Hunter Biden's attorney, do you know this deal gives immunity from future prosecution on these matters, yada, yada, yada. And he said, well, no, I don't know that exactly because we didn't really discuss it. The prosecutor chimes in, yes, it does. No problem. And she's like, oh, no. We have a discrepancy in understanding. We know this cannot go through. I will not accept this plea deal, which in and of itself is unfreaking heard of. We had a plea deal that was harsher than normal and a judge that blew it up that never blows it up. The judges never blow up plea deals. They just don't. Again, rarest of unicorn. Would not have happened if his last name was not Biden. Just would not have happened if his last name was not Biden. So there's a lot of narratives floating out around this that just aren't true. One of them is from the left that is just untrue, that the prosecutor, David Weiss, he's political. He's wanting to do, no, let me show you. This is David Weiss, okay? Prosecutors that are political, prosecutors that stick their neck out in political prosecutions are young men, young women that are aggressive, are looking to create, let me blow that up for you, that are looking to build onto a career, that are trying to set themselves up to be noted for future careers, senatorial runs, things like that. Does this man look like a young, aggressive prosecutor to you? No, he is not. He is not. He is not. And I will tell you what is happening behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. Oh, yeah, Don Jr., DJ Fox, you're right. Absolutely. Don Jr., I assure you, has been high with drugs, with guns. Absolutely. I would bet my life on that. But my point is, the only reason that harsh-ass plea deal, and it was harsh, I mean, charges that don't get filed on taxes that got paid, that normally handled civilly, got blown up was because this Republican judge didn't want this to go away. And that's exactly what happened if that plea deal went through. That's why they took it. That's why he took it. This all goes away. And the Republicans want this going into the next frickin' election. They want to be able to say, but Hunter Biden, because that's what they're hanging their whole hat on. They're hanging everything on Hunter Biden. Again. I mean, it totally blew up in their faces in 2020. But again, and this is where I'm telling you, I am not high road. I am not. I am telling you, I want to ask you to do me a favor. I want you to call the White House, and I want you to ask Joe Biden to pardon Hunter Biden. I do. Blanket pardon, everything in this today. The Republicans have showed us over and 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 over again, they will abuse their power. Your son is being persecuted, not just prosecuted, persecuted because he's your son, because his last name is Biden. Put an end to it. Don't stay on the high road. Don't show our morals and high beings. Punch the Republicans in the frickin' eye and give that man a blanket pardon. That's what I want to see happen. Exactly. Donnie pardoned half his staff. Let me tell you why I want that. Because the responses I got on social media from right-wingers were, that's right. Payback, bitch. Payback. You prosecuted Donald Trump. Yeah, Donald Trump committed fraud. This isn't in dispute. Donald Trump tried to end our democracy. This isn't in dispute. The plan is out in the open. It's been testified to under oath. They intended to overturn a fair democratic election. Period. That's what he's being prosecuted for. This isn't vindictiveness. He wasn't even running for office when these charges were filed. He hurried up and declared his candidacy early so that he could claim it was political persecution. It wasn't. He just broke the damn law. Hunter Biden paid his taxes, paid the fines. Everybody else, this gets handled civilly, not criminally. These charges do not come unless it is just horrific, awesome institutional violations. It's usually large corporations that you see, and they've got to have communication to show it was with intent. David Weiss, I will tell you, is punching this judge in the throat with these charges. That's what he's doing. That's what's happening here. David Weiss is absolutely filing charges that he cannot win. He knows he cannot win. He knows what's going to happen. He knows what is going to happen. He knows that Hunter Biden is going to take this to court. They're going to try it expeditiously. This will be resolved early next year. It will not make it into the election season. And Hunter Biden will beat the living crap out of all of these charges. That is what's going on. David Weiss, yeah, he's a Republican. He is. But he also understands what happened with Nixon. He understands that if he abuses his office, he goes to jail for a long time. And he is not doing that. He's doing the opposite of that. He's reminding everybody. The Republicans said, they don't want this plea deal. They don't want this plea deal. They want to keep it active. Okay, fine. I'll show you what you get when you try that. Because Hunter Biden is going to walk out of these court cases innocent, declared innocent. This is going to be a bench trial. He was going to ask for a bench trial. It's going to go to a judge. The judge is going to take a look at it and going to say, I paid my taxes. I found out there was an error on my taxes. I paid the penalties. Didn't try to hide it. Done. And that judge is going to look at that prosecutor and say, why are we here? And David Weiss is going to say, I don't know. I don't know. When he really knows, he's there to teach these sons of bitches a lesson. Don't be political with the IRS. Don't do it. none of these charges stand a chance in hell. None of them. Not one of them. You have to have communications from Hunter Biden saying, I'm going to hide this couple $1,000. I mean, when I'm making over $1 million a year, I'm going to hide a couple $1,000 and intentionally hide this on my taxes because I don't want to pay taxes on $5,000. I don't want to pay taxes on $20,000. That didn't happen. I assure you, that did not happen. Anyways, folks, yeah, that's what's going on. David Weiss isn't the bad guy here. The judge is. The judge isn't an idiot. She bowed to political pressure, and she's going to regret it. She is going to regret it. She's another Eileen Cannon. Folks, it's after 11 o'clock. Tony started. We're going to continue on here, but Tony started. You know, if you want to go on there, I understand. Love Tony to death. I ran a little bit long. I wanted to talk about these in full, but I do want to have a roundtable, and there's a couple of quick things that we've got to talk about. One is Preacher Johnson. You're not going to believe what has come out of this man's mouth. I want to play the video for you real quick of Preacher Johnson saying that he talks to God, and well, God talks back. And oh yeah, he's Moses. First part of this audio is difficult to stick with it. It gets It's not muted. It's the audio from. It's just piss poor audio. Yeah, it's just piss poor audio in the recording, folks. He describes a conversation he had with God. Not, you know, I was feeling tough and I just wanted to pray. I wanted to talk to God. No, in his conversation, God talks back. God told him to bide his time. When he saw the chaos in the Republican Party, God told him, sit back, don't do anything, sit back. Until God told him, go be speaker. Now, I just want to be clear with you. This is not a man saying that he prayed to God for to console himself, or to just to hear himself think, or because he thinks God answers prayers. That's not what this was about. He said God talked back to him and told him to wait until God told him not to wait and go be speaker. And then as speaker, he's to be Moses. Not kidding. He's supposed to be Moses for our country. That man is insane. That man is insane. He is insane. That is not right. That is not right in the head. Yes, if you're a Christian, it's blasphemy. It is blasphemy to say that God told you to go be Moses. But that is the man running our House of Representatives. Again, I'm not telling you this. He's telling you this. Please, Google Mike Johnson Moses on any social media, or go to any social media, do that search on XChan or Threads or whatever. You'll find the video there. The audio's not great. This meeting they had, about the first 30 seconds of it, really can't make out what he's saying. It's just all blurred, blah, 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 runs together. But it gets really clear there at the end. And the man tells you, I was talking to God and God told me to wait until he didn't. He told me, go now. Go look. It's out there. It is insane. It is insane. The other thing that I want to talk about is Reuters is losing its damn mind. I have to tell you, we have a problem in our corporate media. We have a serious problem in our corporate media. This is from Malcolm Nance. Malcolm Nance has been hot on this, and I'm glad he has. I'm tired of being the only person out there swinging in the wind talking about this stuff. What happened is a Reuters photographer and his crew were hit by an Israeli tank fire. That sounds bad, right? Because that's what Reuters is doing. Reuters is jumping on this pro-Palestine thing and this whole social media thing, TikTok thing. It's all over TikTok. Oh, Israel needs to be investigated for human rights violations for shooting this photographer with a tank. And Reuters is showing all these pictures of where he looks really sweet and really kind and really, this is what he posts on Twitter. Guy's name is Rafat. David Afun says, a baby was found in an oven baked to death by Hamas terrorists. Leading Israeli responder Eli Bir recounted to an RGC gathering last night. The first responder was telling the story of what he found. Hamas stuck a baby in an oven and turned it on and killed the baby that way. This photographer's response was, with or without baking powder. So yeah, not a real loss to humanity there. But more importantly, the way he died was he was with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. The tanks were in northern Israel. They were being fired on by Hezbollah near the position of where this photographer was. This crew was wearing helmets, bulletproof vests. They walked to the top of a hill. They set up a tripod with a big ass black camera on top of it and pointed it at this tank. Have you seen the optics from a tank? Yeah, you can't read a press pass from that distance. All they saw was somebody holding something big and black on their shoulder while they're taking frickin' fire, and they shot at them because it was in Hezbollah territory, coming from Hezbollah's positions. Yeah, they killed that guy because he was with Hezbollah. Because he says things like, oh, babies tortured to death by being stuck in a fucking oven. Did you put baking powder on it? Yeah, I'm not crying for this guy. But this is who Reuters is listening to. Reuters has lost their ever-loving minds about this. This is their number one story on their front page. When you go to Reuters, they are screaming that this is a human rights violation. It is not a human rights violation. Everybody that knows, that goes to serve in a war zone as press, knows your life is on the line. You are putting yourself in the field of fire. You might die. That's the job. That's why these people get respect, but I have no respect for this individual whatsoever. And I'm sorry, folks, but if he had been with the IDF instead of with Hezbollah, this wouldn't have happened. He's an awful freaking human being, and I'm glad he's gone. So yeah, let's do a roundtable. We've got a few minutes left. Let's do a roundtable. Any questions you have, any comments you have, if you'd like to continue. I understand if you want to go on to Tony's show. We ran a little bit late. I'll apologize to Tony later, but any questions you have, that's what I have for you today. Stonechild Creation says, Mark Twain, religion was invented when the first fool met the first con man. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. DKH, yeah, people call me cruel when I say stuff like this. It's the truth and reality. Yeah, they call me all kinds of things. They call me a bigot. They'll call me an Islamophobe for saying what that man said out of on his own Twitter account. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. You shouldn't have been with Hezbollah. Hezbollah are terrorists. They were firing at these tanks. These tanks fired back. Screw you. I tell you, Cobalt, I agree with you. Can we go back to politics being boring? Yeah, vote the Republicans out of existence because this is all they do for politics. They don't govern. They don't elect people. Ken Paxton is not in his position because he's an effective attorney general that serves the people of Texas and the law. No, that would be boring. What he's there for is to serve the issue. There's a couple billionaires, in the billionaire Republican frat boy club, Tim Dunn, Ferris Wilks, just to name two of them, that just dump money. Elon Musk is now another one that just dump money into these people's pockets for people like Ken Paxton. That's what Republicans do. They don't want people that govern. They don't. They want people that will vote against their own self-interest because they keep feeding them crap. All right. Couple more minutes here. We'll go to 15 after. Amen, sister. I appreciate the support, and you're dead on. We have a lot of poop to clean up, man. The cleaning stations, man, the cleaning stations. No third-party votes, absolutely. And I have to tell you, we need to get. I'm working on this. We're going to set up a website. We are going to. You want to say, how do we turn Texas blue? Really simple. We're going to run on a campaign of enough is enough. Enough is enough. Our governor wasted billions of dollars on this Operation Lone Star boondoggle, and we're going to win this next election with enough is enough. Been a quarter century of Republicans running the states. The roads are crap. The schools are crap. The infrastructure is crap. The electric grid is crap. And all they want to do is play frickin' games. They don't want to do what it takes. Greg Abbott confesses every damn day he is incompetent and cannot run a border state. If I were governor of Texas, what I would do is I would be in touch with, I don't know, states like Michigan, states like Ohio, states where they have manufacturing. I would be vetting people that come across the border here, find good qualified people. We are an aging population, folks. If you want Medicare to last, if you want Social Security to last, if you want any of our business, Korea is going to collapse under its own weight in 2 decades. They do not have the workers to maintain their own factories. They just don't. We're in the same situation, but we're exponentially larger than they are. The problem is going to be that much harder to fix. I've got an idea. We've got people that want to come here. We can't birth our way out. I got an idea. Melting pot. Let's throw everybody in the melting pot. Remember when they taught you about the melting pot when you were a kid? That we are not a nation of one creed or one race or one anything. We are a conglomeration of everybody. I got an idea. Just bring some people in. Throw them in the melting pot. The birth rate hasn't declined everywhere in the world. Let's invite those people to come live here. We have one of the lowest population densities in the world. We do. Land we have. We have room to grow. Amen, Carter. We are a big tent party. We can disagree on things, but when it comes to things, and this is what I'm going to end it on. Great comment. I'm going to end it on that. Right now, you have the same exact trolls pushing a hashtag on the right, Jihadi Joe. Jihadi Joe is the hashtag, saying that he supports Hamas because he is not decimating Gaza right now, because he's trying to hold Israel back. On the other end of the spectrum, the loonies and the blue anon that are our responsibility, our backyard to clean up, the blue anon freaks are passing, or pardon me, are pushing the hashtag genocide Joe, because for them, Joe isn't being harsh enough on Israel. And that's all pushed out of the same troll. It's a guy in a freaking cubicle in an office in St. Petersburg, Russia, that is fomenting this stuff. And they're creating turds on both sides, and those turds float in the same septic tank. And the goal is to get you to not vote. That's what it is. It's to excite the right-wing base and get you to not vote, to be a single issue voter. And look at President Joe Biden, who's going to go down in history. The historians are going to look at Joe Biden and they're going to say, this is one of the greatest presidents we have ever had. We came out of a global pandemic, and his economy, everything that this man did, led the world. He's one of the greatest presidents we ever had. You're getting 95% of everything you want. But the idea is to make this one issue what you don't show up for. And I say to hell with that. I'm the founder of the Ride or Die Democrats. I vote every damn election. You vote every damn election. Block these sons of bitches. Every time you see the word genocide, block it. Every time you see a right-winger talking about Jihadi Joe, block them. End it. We're not going to let people like Ken Paxton run our country. We're not. The Republicans are telling you what they're going to be. And I'll be damned if we're going to let some freaking idiot troll sitting in a cubicle in freaking St. Petersburg dupe us into not being there. We're going to show up. We're going to do it. We are 100% going to do it. Joe Biden will be our president in 2024 to 2028. And we will have another Democratic president in 2028 because we've got a huge field of great, talented people that actually want to govern. And that's what I'm going to leave you on, folks. That's what I'm going to leave you on. We are Ride or Die Democrats. I promise you, you stick with me. You ride with me. It's time to ride. Enough is enough. That's the message. I'm going to ask you again. In closing, I'm going to ask you again. Support the show if you can. I will do this. I'm thinking about going to daily. I'm thinking about going to daily shows, Sunday through Friday. If you folks want it, you folks will be here. You can bring in the audience. Cecilia, great question. It's really simple. There's no registration. There's no anything. I will be setting up a website, and Enough is Enough website here pretty soon. What we are going to do, and if you want to be a Ride or Die Democrat, this is what you have to do. One, you have to vote in every election. You have to vote Democrat in every election. In a primary, you fight your ass off for your beliefs. We are a big tent party. We are a big tent. We don't agree on everything. I am hardcore. I stand with Israel. There are people in our Democratic Party who are not. There are people in our Democratic Party that want to end support for Israel. That they do. That argument is there to be had. You have that argument in the primaries. You fight for what you believe. But when that primary is over, if your guy wins, I walk into that booth and I pull the lever for Democrats. If my guy wins, you walk into that booth and you pull the lever for Democrats. Because there's only one way going forward for this country. They are showing you. Burkett in Tennessee, they didn't vote Santos out because he was a damn crook. They voted him out because he was gay. They hate the LGBTQ plus community. Appreciate the support there, Matthew. I do. I appreciate the support. Thank you, Victor H. I really do appreciate it. Every dollar counts. But that's how you become a ride or die Democrat. And you put the hearts, you see the hearts and skulls popping up. That is how we identify ourselves in our social media. You put that on your social media bio, put that out in your social media posts. Hashtag ride or die Democrats, hearts and skulls, blue hearts and skulls. But yeah, that is something we can all get behind. We don't have to toe a line as a party. We don't. You know, wasn't it old Roy Rogers that said, I don't belong to any organized political party. I'm a Democrat. That's true. We're not. We don't goose step like Republicans. We don't. Thanks for the support. We don't goose step. We have different ideas. But on 99% of the stuff we agree on. And we know the other side wants to end our democracy. If you do not defeat Donald Trump in this election, you will not get another election to vote in. It will be a Russian election where he gets 98% turnout for him. You will not get another real election again as long as you live. You just won't. That's what we're fighting for. That is what we're fighting for. So yeah, that's how you become a ride or die Democrat. Later on, as we get the website up and we try to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to create a nexus of places where candidates can meet people, where candidates can get together with people. And what you can do. If it's writing postcards, do that. If it's donating, do that. If it's phone banking, these candidates are going to need people to phone bank for them. And it's so easy now. You know, you don't have long distance charges on your phone. It used to be really hard. It was expensive to phone bank. It's not anymore. They give you a script and you call people. And believe me, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. I tell you, this last election here in Texas, in the postmortem, the one thing that I kept bringing up in all the strategy meetings over and over and over again is I would ask the same, they got tired of hearing it. Who called you? Everybody in this room, we're in the system. We are the Democrats. Who called you? How many people showed up at your house and knocked on a door and asked you to come vote? How many got an offer? If you can't drive yourself to the polls, we know an organization that is driving people to the polls. Who heard that offer? Invariably, it would be nobody, or one hand would go up. So yeah, that's what I am wanting to do this election cycle. I want to create that nexus of you wonderful people, even if it's just an hour in this next election cycle. Say you spend 1 hour writing postcards. Man, that's an hour we didn't get last election. You're changing the world. You're fighting for our democracy, folks. That's what I want to see. Again, I want to thank you for all your support. Visit the Texas Paul store. Help out where you can. You pay for all the subscriptions. You bought this beautiful mic. I hope it sounds wonderful. You pay for the subscription that allows me to broadcast. You pay for all of it, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you. This is Old Texas Paul out. Go enjoy Tony Michaels.